All right. Thank you so much. It's lovely to be. What is this? We Metaverse One started, I want to say in 2020, maybe even before that. I loved being able to say that I believe I have been to every one. It's a wonderful thing. So thank you, everyone. And I hope you had a great event before I was able to join. These events are so important. So huge shout out to the organizers who volunteer to do this work. You know, it is a labor of love, and we appreciate you so much. And so, thank you for including me. There's been lots of talk about Microsoft 365 and AI. But I am the person who loves features for what they actually do for businesses versus the other way around. So that's what we're going to talk about today. I will be sharing this deck with the conference organizers, so you will have a copy of it and everything that's included. And we'll spend a little bit of time on our announcements this week, Wave 2 of Copilot, Microsoft 365 Copilot. But let's just hop in real quick. There's some top line slides I always like to share, just to reground us on the breadth of the Microsoft ecosystem. So I always want to remind folks that these kinds of eras of innovation and capability are not just about the technology or where you work today. This is an opportunity and a moment for your career. And as we go through this content today, I really want you to be thinking about your career and what comes next and what you want to do with your career. I am a product of the Microsoft community. I needed to reboot my life. I joined the community. I learned SharePoint in my off hours. I built a farm in my apartment. Um, and I self-studied, and now I work inside Microsoft. And thank you for acknowledging my recent promo, but it's really because of this community that I've been able to get here, and it's transformed the life and the well-being of my family. So the Microsoft ecosystem here and our entire culture is not just about what we sell. Of course, we're a public company and we sell stuff, but it's also about who we really empower and what that empowerment means to countries and governments and individuals around the world. I love to show this slide. This is one of our internal slides that Satya uses to talk about the culture of our organization and our mission. Everyone hears the why, empower every person and organization on the planet to achieve more. I still think that people think that's just some fluffy motto that we put on some slideware, but I am here to assert that that is not the case. There are literally thousands of people around the world who take this very seriously and get up every day to do just that. I am one of those people. I really believe in the ability of technology to empower humans and for humans to do more and have more connectivity and a better existence because of it. And so we have these abilities through security above all other things, but our infrastructure, our data and AI, our collaborative applications, and what have you. But none of that matters if we don't have the right culture in our company to be able to share internally with each other and with all of you. I firmly believe that we would not have been able to deliver the Teams experience and certainly not the AI experiences we're delivering now if our culture inside Microsoft had not transformed. I started at Microsoft when Steve Ballmer was there, and I appreciate everything that he and his predecessors did to build the company. But it has been Satya that has allowed us to turn the corner and collaborate with each other to embrace a growth mindset and stay curious and grow. And that's really what we ask of people in the community as well. This year, Microsoft is celebrating its 50th year. And it has been 50 years of Microsoft, but only 2 years of AI. And on this slide, every month for the last 2 years, we have delivered unbelievable value in AI capabilities. And these things aren't just features, these are projects that have been launched by major organizations to allow AI to lift some of the drudgery and the burden work from their workforces. As every time somebody says the word AI to you in the coming months and years, I want you to think about workforce transformation. I want you to think about what comes next for you, your team, and the people around you, not from a place of AI anxiety and fear, but from a place of what can this technology do for me? Right? SharePoint, the original technology that I got into when I got in the community more than a decade ago, 15 years ago now, maybe longer. I guess time keeps passing by. Um, I thought about what it could do for the business I was in, and how could I learn it and how could I make it do more. People seem to not quite be there with AI. And I think we need to change our mindset about this tool because that's what it is. It's a tool for our use. It is not built or designed to replace us, but instead to augment our experience. And I personally believe make more time for us to actually connect with one another rather than having to update my project plan or take meeting notes, for instance. Our enterprise AI commitments are the backbone of everything that we're doing at Microsoft right now. We talk about these every day. We've actually instantiated our responsible AI commitments into an engineering business process that every feature must go through before it is released, right? Making sure that your data remains your data. Our customer copyright commitment, where we will support you if somebody accuses you of using AI to plagiarize materials. Our entire approach to privacy and responsibility, our Secure Future initiative, and our sustainability component, which I think is under focused on, frankly. AI can be a very power hungry technology, and we are designing it to benefit the planet, not further, decimate or make difficulty in the area of climate change. And so, we recognize that we have a responsibility to that. As I mentioned, that responsible AI content is available, excuse me, and it is built into a responsible AI website. And the reason that I always bring that up, one moment, while I get some water here. Hang on one. Okay, sorry about that. The reason that that's super important is because you can use our principles to build your own responsible AI standard. Right. And so never start from scratch in the Microsoft ecosystem. This is one of the most important things you can take away from this. We have a template for almost everything, and responsible AI principles are no exception. Um, our corporate standards, the way we implement, the oversight, our AI council, all of these things are built into the overall approach that we have. And I mentioned sustainability, and I do like to pause here for a moment just to really land this fact. Optimizing our data centers for energy waste and water. This is something that we were already on the path to do. But with the additional capacity that we have built to deliver AI experiences, obviously that plan was potentially impacted, except we re-architected the plan so that we will still make sure that we have a 3 to 6 time efficiency improvement in our data center ecosystem, and we will continue to meet our 2030 and 2025 objectives for zero carbon energy output from our data center infrastructure. So the advances that we're doing to deliver AI experiences will have benefits throughout industry. And this is also why this wave of AI capabilities is important, not just for what it's doing for us individually or at a business level, but the innovation that it'll drive from an industry standpoint that will help people do more with less. So I always show this slide first before I dive into some of the feature content. If you haven't bookmarked adoption.microsoft.com, please do. We, of course, did have a public event this week also on Monday. Jared and Satya talked about our Wave 2 innovations, and I'll dive into those. But our content on adoption.microsoft.com shipped on Monday morning as well. So everything has been updated, including the new branding. Microsoft 365 Copilot is now the way we refer to that experience, and everything has been updated. We have new content out there, but not just for Copilot, by the way. One thing that it is really important to understand is healthy Microsoft 365 usage is the precursor to having a great experience in Copilot. So people are going to come and talk to you about Copilot, but in your mind, you should be thinking about how are people using Teams? How are people using SharePoint and OneDrive? How are people using Power BI? Where is the data? Where is the information stored? I was talking to a customer the other day, and they had a culture where people tended to save everything on their OneDrive. Well, that's fine. but it doesn't really improve the Copilot experience. And as you saw with Copilot Pages and other experiences that we're launching, the data, the documents you have in SharePoint and the governance created by that information architecture that's present, hopefully, in your SharePoint ecosystem is really foundational to building great Copilot experiences and also to having Copilot work properly with the right controls, right? With the right privacy controls in your organization. So come to adoption.microsoft.com to improve your team's usage, to think about smart saving campaigns, to make sure people are using Planner well, those sorts of things as you get ready in your organization for what comes next. This is our Microsoft 365 Copilot page. We've got there the updated success kit. I'm going to do a little bit of live demo of this in a little bit to talk about some of the components of it, but just giving you a quick view there. And boy, does it have a lot of other stuff that is available to you that I will weave through the rest of this presentation. Something that we have extended is the Community Skills Challenge. This is still going and will go through the end of September. We did update it in August because it was doing really well. The Community Skills Challenge is really foundational knowledge and power skills for your career in the tech business. And it includes things that like I didn't learn at the beginning of my career. What is actually the overarching policy for privacy and data in Microsoft 365? How are licenses constructed? There's some really good foundational courses in this challenge, as well as things about tech resiliency and the power skills you need that are beyond technical acumen. Of course, I'm a fan of this Community Skills Challenge. I did curate the content, and you will see more of this coming from the team as we march towards Ignite and ESPC in Europe, in the fall here and winter. But I think it's important to build both skills equally. You need to know how to present, how to handle objections, how to run something like an AI council, which is about meeting organization skills, not necessarily the technology, as well as understand the capabilities of Microsoft 365. Microsoft 365 didn't exist when I started in this business, and I had to learn one very complicated thing, which was SharePoint. Microsoft 365 now is an incredibly long list of workloads, including Microsoft Viva, including some of the elements of Power Platform. It is a very, very large tech stack. So pace yourself, find an area that really excites you, that is complementary to and supported by AI experiences. And that will allow you to do this, transform your business, deploy those capabilities, and accelerate your career opportunity. These kinds of transformations need to be personal, we want all of you to feel the personal benefit of the expansion of our marketplace with these new capabilities. And a word from my adoption specialist or anybody who's doing user enablement out there: there's not enough of us. Word to the wise. There's not enough collaboration directors in the world. There's not enough collaboration user experience specialists in the world. There aren't enough people who understand the art and the science of driving usage of technology services. So if you're motivated by people more than you're motivated by tech, if you want to help and be of service, that's an area that you can invest in from a career perspective. You can start with taking MS 4007, the course that we have written and deployed on user enablement for Copilot, and you can carve out for yourself an area there that people are understanding is important. I'm a bit of a champion for this space. It is one of the things that I really wanted to bring to the table is professional recognition for this work and a structure that people could succeed with. And I think we've done a reasonable job of that, although there's more work to do. But businesses understand how important it is for people to actually get the value out of the investment they're making with Microsoft 365. And people who can have that conversation are highly in demand. The AI transformation can be thought of in these 4 pillars. So One of the things I find a lot when my team was lucky enough to get selected to work with the early adopters of Copilot, the first 100 companies who ever saw any bits of the Copilot experience. And one of the things I took away from that was the fact that there seemed to be a little bit of a lack of inspiration amongst business leaders about how they should be leveraging AI in their environments. And we did some study work on this actually. And the more people understand about AI, the less they talk about efficiencies, right, for their workforce, and the more they talk about scenarios that actually drive top line growth. And this is the transformation you want to see people go through. Yes, of course, everyone talks about, efficiencies and AI taking us away from certain tasks and how that connects to enhancements in robotics and quantum computing. But what really matters actually is how do we grow our businesses? How do we enrich the employee experience, reinvent that customer engagement, reshape those business processes, and really help a company bend the curve on innovation towards innovating more quickly and efficiently? So those are the opportunities that as business leaders start to really understand this tech, they start to think about. It's up to us to deliver that inspiration, right? We really need to deliver that inspiration. And that's really where our scenario library comes in. Now I'm going to switch sharing to my live demo here real quick and grab this screen instead. And my test was successful, so I'm going to assume you all can still see it. If somebody gives me a thumbs up, that would be lovely. But the scenario library here, you can get to it directly from the home of the Microsoft 365 Copilot experience on adoption at Microsoft.com. It is the interactive scenario library. The scenario library gives business leaders examples and a place to explore the different ways that they can use Copilot in their very common departments. Now, this isn't a be all or end all. There's going to be lots of scenarios that people will come up with, but people were really having difficulty understanding, okay, I'm in finance. What are the kinds of experiences or scenarios I should be looking at to try to transform with Copilot? And so what you have here is you can expand this carrot on the left and you can see a list. If you navigate to this, it will localize. It's available in 15 different languages. We are fast follow localizing all of the Success Kit downloadable materials right now. So in the next few weeks, it'll be in those varying languages for you. But I'm going to hop over here to using Copilot in marketing. I can click on a page, and what's important is this is designed for you to have a conversation with somebody while you're looking at it. You can watch an overview of a marketing manager's day in the life with Copilot. You can see the demo itself, or you can download this marketing success kit, and this gives you content that you can not only use in your organization, but customize, right? This is just slideware. The top 10 things to try, effort level for the various scenarios for executives in this department, and it gives you the KPIs, the use cases by roles, and the day in the life experiences. Now, if you don't, you can download that, but you can also just see that right here in the website itself. And I encourage people to use the website because we're constantly updating it, right? So what is the cost per lead? This is an area where people can do some work, right? Here's how Copilot can help manage those marketing expenses, the roles that Copilot can impact, and the AI solutions that are in place. Sometimes it's Microsoft 365 Copilot. Sometimes it's others like Copilot in sales or service, etc. Right? And it gives people this idea of what it was like before AI and what it's like after. So this website, and here's the documentation that I was referring to. This website is essential in being able to drive this conversation and deliver some inspiration for people to be able to understand. I'll go back to my deck here to be able to understand, like, what can they do with this stuff, right? Because if they don't have that inspiration, that will be complicated for them. Oh, I need to make sure that my audio is on there. Include sound. Here we go. Okay. SharePoint complicated. Yes, yes, it was. I gotta resume my slide here. Here we go. Okay, so driving this conversation takes you through these drivers of AI value. So, again, you notice I've gotten through half of my talk and I haven't talked much about features. That's because the feature set are the set of tools that you apply to the business outcome, not the other way around. And a lot of people, in my opinion, my humble opinion, do it backwards. Of course, we're a technology company. We're going to tell you about features and you're going to, we want you to be excited about the features. It's wonderful because it gives you more opportunities to build cool stuff. I still get excited when SharePoint releases something new. I think it's fun. But what I think is more fun is driving that top line growth for companies, is knowing that I'm contributing to improving the economy of places around the world, of being able to help people transform their organization and culture and live out their business strategy with an applied AI experience that is well governed and a part of a broader technology strategy, right? And so, did you see how I got all those pillar names in that sentence? That I did it. Anyway, the small things you have to take a moment to laugh at, because I guess I've been presenting Microsoft content for too long. But it is important, right? It is important. So this business strategy and these drivers, we didn't just make this up out of air. There's a wonderful woman, Susan Ettinger, inside Microsoft, who conducted a study with, I believe, 1,100 large organizations around the globe to help understand what these drivers of AI value really were. And so the research is available through our adoption hub on our Leadership in the Era of AI page, which is referenced in our Copilot Success Kit. And I encourage you to read that because it's definitely valuable information if you're trying to even explain to your department leader why this stuff matters, right? Because not everybody's on the AI is wonderful train. People just aren't. As I mentioned, AI anxiety is a real thing. People need to understand the governance that is necessary in Microsoft 365 to create a safe AI experience. And frankly, I've been teaching governance for the same 15 years I've been in the community. And, the governance you have to do for AI readiness, as you can see in our kit, is almost identical to the governance we've been talking about all along, right? Manage your M365 groups, teach people where to save content, use retention labels, this sort of thing. You can use restricted search as well in SharePoint. Now that's available, but governance in Microsoft 365 is what it has always been. What is different now is this recognition that in any technology implementation, and certainly in AI, there are three distinct work streams that need to be managed. The evolution of leadership and the way they think about the technology and lean into the process. The human change work stream, which incorporates our adoption and user enablement capabilities, as well as other things like making sure you have a community of practice and what have you. And then the technical skills needed to actually implement the technology. We had an opportunity with my team leading and a bunch of other folks involved to completely reframe the Microsoft 365 implementation framework for the era of AI. And that is what this slide is documenting. You will start to see this across all the other services. These four pillars of those three big work streams: leadership, human change, and technical skill. And then when you go to implement, using the four pillars of getting ready, onboarding and engaging, delivering impact with reporting and all of that good stuff, and then extending and optimize with Copilot Studio or other development experiences as may be relevant in the particular service. So this is the way that we will be driving people to implement Microsoft 365 specifically for Copilot, but also beyond for things like new teams, or maybe you're going to roll out some components of Viva in your environment, which we definitely recommend. Again, reminding you that you never have to start from scratch. The Microsoft Fast Track team is available for organizations with more than 150 seats. Microsoft Learn constantly updating their free training around this. And of course, AMC, adoption.microsoft.com. one of the things we're trying to do on adoption.microsoft.com, and we started with teams, the new teams actually, Copilot is their second, of this complete hub, right? And I probably should have scrolled through the page a little bit more, and I think I'm going to go back to that really quickly, just to show you the fact that what we're doing is really trying to create this one-stop shop for content and enablement information for services across Microsoft 365. And again, we're working our way through them because it's a big space. Most of these hub pages will have a success kit at the top, a link to training of some sort or another, and then a link directly to the community. But as you scroll down, you'll see the most updated news and announcements, right? In this case, it's Wave 2 and extending Copilot with our agent conversation. And you'll also see this. This is super common, but we have redone this to match those phases I was talking about. Get ready, onboard, and engage. And no matter who you are, the content is organized in that way. So we've done a complete refresh, basically, of this for Copilot. And then we always highlight the most important news and announcements. You can find that all in one place. The community events that are happening next week. There is on September 19th, actually tomorrow, there's an AMA on Copilot and exploring this continuous learning. So you can see that you can come to this Copilot page and really go through your entire product journey with the detailed tools and capabilities that are necessary. And we're always highlighting the community, because if you have a question and you don't see what you want, that's where you come. And this is how you connect the technology to the business value in your organization. You are that connection. You are the person who is going to do that and going to help people really understand what they can do next. Now I'm going to go back here to my deck again, switching back and forth. Okay. Yes, and there is a toolkit. Ooh, hopefully I will get to, nope, got to do this one more time. Maybe I switched back and forth maybe one too many times. I used my chits with the demo gods here. Hang on one second. I'm going to do this again. There we go. And come back to it. Come on, teams, you can do it. I'm going to give you a minute to do it. There it is. This takes a minute. Fantastic. Okay. So what we're trying to create is some logical continuity between, you see our executives talking about features, and then we want you to know, great, you can find all that on the product page, but then when you really want to know how and what to do next, you come to adoption.microsoft.com. We do the work to collate all of the resources that are available across the ecosystem, and also make sure you can get to community so you can get your questions answered. And then we are accountable for keeping those things updated, but all in one place. The same thing exists for the new Microsoft Teams, and we have it for Copilot. We're working through these priority experiences, and soon all of adoption.microsoft.com will be structured in this way as we go through the process. So I'm excited. I'm really into all of that. Obviously, it surprised me this week as we did this launch. I started adoption.microsoft.com, I want to say 7 years ago, and it was a single page with a bunch of links to the 16 different sites where adoption content lived. And now it's this big thing. And so I want to thank all of you who have supported the growth of that experience and helping people know it's important. So share it with everyone so that they can understand it. Okay, we're going to go now into some product stuff. So you have a business strategy, you have hopefully an AI council, you've talked to even your departmental leader about how Copilot and Microsoft 365 foundational elements can help you achieve some business goals. Because, the other thing I'll mention is whether it's Outlook or Teams or SharePoint and OneDrive, there are people who like to use different things. What I like about Copilot, as well as Microsoft Loop, is it brings people together across those collaboration app experience boundaries. And so I don't have to think as much about, oh, they always use email, but my leaders over here use Teams. I can just use Loop and collaborate across all of them. I don't have to navigate individually all of the components of communications or sending out a comm, because I can use Viva Amplify and send it to Viva Engage and SharePoint News and Teams and Outlook all at the same time. More and more of these better together scenarios, as I have called them for years, are coming to life inside Microsoft. And it's because of you all pushing us to do a better job of that, that these things are happening. So there's a baseline of for enablement of AI, if you're thinking about that, and even if you're not thinking about AI, really focusing on your baseline usage and your foundational usage of Microsoft 365 will lift all boats. It will improve the experience of folks and help you transform your culture in such a way that people get into a continuous learning mindset. That continuous learning mindset is the difference between succeeding in this era and thriving in this era and not. Because the change, I think we've all noticed it's coming fast. And those of us who can adapt with this level of change and this pace will fare well. And so we want to build that skill in other people, right? Because it comes naturally to, if you're coming to an event like this and you're already in this community, it may feel overwhelming and stressful as it does to me, but you still have a propensity for dealing with it. You're curious, and so you're here. We need to take that curiosity and the fun that we get from that and take it to other people. So getting that healthy usage up, right, in Microsoft 365, making sure you have a community of practice and champions who can help really ensure that people are getting supported and getting answers, making sure your teamwork governance is in place, right? How are you governing the creation of Microsoft 365 groups? Do you have sensitivity labels enabled? In the future, they will come on by default, but many of you, of course, your tenants are much older than that, and so you need to go back and do some work. And those user enablement muscles, making sure that, as I mentioned, a community of practice, but also a site experience and on-demand training availability like you can have with our tools is really important. And that will allow you to start to drive these different kinds of transformative experiences that will make you ready for Copilot. And if you're already using Copilot, will help you to drive usage so that you're getting the most out of that investment. Obviously, Copilot is not free, right? And so it is on the web, obviously, on the consumer side. But from a business perspective, Copilot really delivers so much value when it is reasoning over your data in your environment in a properly governed and safe manner. That is when Copilot really lights up. Because then I can say, okay, what's happening in my inbox today? Right? People need to have an aha moment with AI. My aha moment, because I am well known for being terrible at managing my inbox, was when I realized Copilot could help me do it. It could summarize, not just spit out in a search, the top emails from my management chain and what was most important, like the activity and the different components that make that reasoning happen in a large language model. When it helped me to start writing blog posts, so I wasn't dealing with that blank page syndrome, and help me get more content out. So it can actually help me write a strategy paper about the future of adoption.microsoft.com. This is my actual job, right? And I was like, oh my goodness, I can cope with this pace of change because I can get more done. And frankly, anything that helps me manage my inbox in Outlook is a good thing, because I am just perpetually vexed and worried that I'm going to miss something important from one of my leaders, right? That causes me a good deal of stress. So now I know that I can come in the morning and just, that's the first thing I do, right? I'm working in BizChat and Copilot Microsoft 365 to do that. So everyone has to have that personal aha moment so they can go through and realize these opportunities and take the approach. Included in this deck, of course, is the requisite promo video for Copilot. How many of you have already seen that? Can you give me a thumbs up if you've already seen the kind of basic intro video for Copilot? Yeah, you guys, everybody's seen it. Okay, fantastic. Well, it is in this deck. You can use it and show it to others who haven't seen it. Again, you all are leaders in the era of AI. You're here. and that makes you a leader. And so you can use these materials to help bring other people along. So I'm going to go ahead and hop into our announcements yesterday. You can go onto LinkedIn and replay the event where Jared and Satya discussed our Wave 2s with all their fancy demonstrations. I think it is well worth the 25-minute time investment, if only to see the strategy of where we're going next. And part of that strategy, besides renaming the product one more time to Microsoft 365 Copilot, go ahead, laugh, because we've renamed it like 3 times in the last 2 years. I think this is where we started out, or my first slides, I think, had this name, and now we're back at it. But anyway, we've renamed it to create more clarity, especially between the enterprise and the business versions and the consumer versions is really where that comes from. But moving into Copilot pages, right? This dynamic and persistent canvas that you can create for AI experiences that multiple people can engage with at the same time. There's just so much happening in this space of Microsoft Teams and having Copilot in your meetings when transcript is on, being able to not only help you summarize, but answer questions, being able to customize that against information across your organization so that you're really having somebody help you facilitate your meetings, having this experience do that. These sorts of things, better capabilities in Excel and PowerPoint, Outlook, Teams, OneDrive, and Word, right? The depth of focus that we have right now on improving these experiences based on customer feedback, right? We're not opening up a whole new category. We're actually improving what we've already shipped, as well as adding things like Copilot pages and Copilot agents, is really important. And it is our commitment to your feedback that is making that happen. So more grounding options. But again, all of this starts with your governance in Microsoft 365. Our technical readiness deck in the Copilot Success Kit will walk you through the work that you need to do to be GDPR compliant, to ensure privacy and security controls are in place, and to ensure that people aren't going to reason over data that they shouldn't have access to by doing the appropriate reporting and audit of, for instance, your SharePoint environment before you deploy Copilot licenses. But once you've deployed them, hopefully to a kind of larger group, we don't really pilot Copilot. We roll it out to a larger group of people so that they can have a shared experience of onboarding. It's more successful. That allows you to be able to start to get value more quickly. One of the also fun things about this right now is Copilot Studio. The thing I used to love to do most was to build workflows in SharePoint and use Designer and use our former Forms products and things of that nature to create those business processes that were automated. Copilot Studio is that place today, and you can go from low code to pro code in a very short period of time if that's what you want, or you can stay in the reasonably low code area and do some really amazing things, and more of that is coming. So if you have an inclination to do business process automation, Copilot Studio is going to be the place that's going to be your playground. And there's more and more content coming on Microsoft Learn about how to do that. It's a little shallow right now because we're still building the capabilities into Copilot Studio. By the time we get to fall, though, there'll be even more learning content out there. And there's some fantastic MVPs in the community who are figuring this out along with us. And I frankly would be following them. So that you can really get that real world experience. And that's where the Copilot Studio and these, now we refer to them as agents. So rather than apps and extensibility, extensibility is really a category, but extensions, things of that nature, we're referring to these things as agents because they have the ability to take actions, reasoning over data at your charge and within your business rules. But it gives this ability for people to create agents with specific subject matter expertise. So yes, I am building a agent that has the kind of expertise I do in driving adoption in large organizations, right? I can have it reason over every presentation, every white paper, the meeting notes I've kept from all the work that I've done, right? And it's a what would Karuana do type of experience. That's actually very helpful to me because I get a lot of questions, individual chats all day long at Microsoft, and I want to help people, but I can't scale, right? That's another reason I started adoption at Microsoft.com, wanted to do that work. And so having AI allow me to know that better answers are coming for these folks because it's reasoning over the data I pointed it at, not all of Microsoft's data or all of the internet, but my content in particular, is incredibly powerful. I want to pause for a second because I do want to leave time for questions. I have some demos in this deck, which you probably have seen. The one that you probably may not have is Team Copilot, and I'm going to show that one because I think it's really important to understand how we're beginning to think of Copilot operating in teams. And then I will, so get your questions ready. You can put them in chat, and I'll, answer anything that you have there in the chat to make sure that all this is kind of sticking together. So there is a link here to the new agent capabilities in Copilot, to that blog post that came. I want to say this was back originally. We originally announced this in May. Some of these things are starting to roll out and certainly will by Ignite. But let me run this demo really quickly, and then I'll come back and we'll have some more conversation. And if the question is when, the answer is coming to a tenant near you this fall. And it is, of course, included in the Copilot license, or the Teams premium license. There's still some work being done on that. But it's a beautiful video. But having used this, let me tell you something that I find really, really useful. So we know that we can get intelligent meeting recap from Teams right now, right? We know that we can do that. But it's not interactive in the moment. Now I can ask Copilot, what did I miss in a meeting if I come late, for instance. But Copilot in Teams, what this meeting experience is doing is it's reminding you about the time. It's saying, hey, people are really having a lot of conversation on this topic. Here's a document that I found that might be able to help. Like, it is actually interactive in a way that an intelligent meeting recap is not. Now, what I will say also is, have you finished designing this and figuring out all the rough edges of how these different experiences work together? No, we haven't. This is all new. But what we are doing is releasing innovations at an unprecedented pace, and we will continue to do that and use your feedback as customers to help us understand how to best weave these experiences together between agents you might create, agents that come with Microsoft 365. We'll call it the core Copilot experiences that you can get from BizChat and the app inside of Teams or on the web. There's a lot of integration and better togetherness to be figured out there, and we're still figuring that out. I do want to make a note. There is a Microsoft 365 small business page. My team also does small and medium business enablement, and we are taking all of the enterprise kind of super complicated content that we have and trying to simplify it for small and rural businesses, mid-sized businesses. So there's a whole community dedicated to that. Tiffany Lee on my team is our SMB champion. And so if you work in a smaller organization, we see you. And we know that all this enterprise grade stuff is great for really big multinational companies or companies that have, 5,000 plus employees. But if you have, 500 people, in a shoe factory someplace, or you're a custom jeweler, for instance, I talked to somebody like that the other day, that's just way overwhelming. So we are doing a lot of work to simplify this, what we call a checklist for success series. So you can basically kind of have it on a page. These are the things I need to do to enable Copilot. These are the things I need to do to make sure people are using it right. And here's some ideas of how I can have this really help my business. Because more than big business, medium-sized businesses need this kind of technology to compete. So, definitely, definitely. And nonprofits as well. Yes. Monty, I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. There is a large nonprofit, there's Microsoft Philanthropic, but there is a product engineering group in Microsoft that focuses on nonprofit technology enablement, and Copilot is coming to them as well. So let me go through here to the end. I have a few more slides. Obviously, I've already talked about the scenario library, did that at the top, making sure that you have all this information available. Here's some insight on Copilot Studio. So again, definitely if you are somebody who considers themselves a Teams or a SharePoint administrator, or if you've ever built a workflow in Power Automate, Copilot Studio is where you want to be learning. And if you've never done any of those things because you're a user enablement specialist or you're brand new to Microsoft, go there anyway, right? Because we're really trying to make it simple for you to take the building blocks of Microsoft 365 and build things that matter to you, right? And that Copilot Studio space is where it is. And definitely there is content there that will be meaningful to you. I would be remiss if I didn't make sure to cover briefly our Secure Future initiative. Ton of work being put in this area. It really is what's happening at Microsoft from a priority perspective before AI or anything else is our SFI experience and program. This is happening across every single product across all of Microsoft. And it is a virtuous continuous improvement that is being prioritized in our actual connects, right? In my performance connect is what am I doing for SFI today, not what am I doing for AI today, just so everybody is clear. And that is how we operationalize our responsible AI principles and keep our promises to you as our customers. So very important to note that. Remember that this moment is about you. It's about your career, your opportunity. Skill up for free, get advice in the community. Don't start from scratch. Use our stuff. We are here to make sure that you have a long and fruitful career with Microsoft, right? And whether you stay inside a customer firm, whether you work in a Microsoft partner, whether you're somebody like me that ends up coming inside Microsoft, there's just so much opportunity here. I am 150% dedicated to making sure that everyone can take advantage of it, and so is my entire team. It's such a privilege to get to grow and build and lead a team like this at Microsoft, and the level of support I have from my executive leadership is kind of unmatched in my career, and so I intend to do everything I can with it for other people, because everyone should know these top 10 things. But more importantly, everyone should understand the resources that exist on adoption.microsoft.com and in the community as a whole. The future can be exciting if you feel prepared for it. And if you don't listen to those voices of AI anxiety that are painting some pretty dire pictures, there are risks 100% with where technology is going today. But it's like the technology we're surrounded by in our house. I don't know about you. I have a lot of technology in my home. I have this fancy coffee pot. My husband's never programmed the coffee pot. He doesn't even know how fancy it is, right? Technology only matters if people actually use it. People won't use it if they don't feel comfortable. Who's going to make them comfortable? Leaders in the era of AI. And who is that? That is you. You are here, you are learning, you can get that confidence, that appropriate confidence that comes from studying a subject and understanding how to actually, use the tool, right? There is artisanship to this work as well as technical acumen and mastery, but it can be so fun. So I encourage you to lean into the fun of what we're doing and yeah, just enjoy this time for sure.